So years back, when I lived in New York City, the Lower East Side of New York City, the city, Manhattan. Back then it was called, the Lower East Side was called Alphabet City. That was one of its nicknames. Lived on the corner of Avenue C and 9th Street on the fourth floor, if you count the ground floor as one. Well, that neighborhood was pretty noisy, volatile, creative, versatile. Back then, things didn't quiet down till about 4 o'clock in the morning. Maybe 5 o'clock in the morning. I had to get up at 7 o'clock to go to work. Construction job. I wouldn't get to sleep till maybe 5:30 or 6 o'clock. So, needless to say, I was always tired, exhausted, worn out, run down. Now there's this old black guy, I don't know, maybe upper middle ages, 50, 55, something like that. His name was Lizzie. He had the most gravelly voice I've ever heard. I've never heard a white man with a voice like that. I've heard some black men with voices like that. But Lizzie's was the worst of all. Sounded like he had marbles in his throat. Worse than Fred Sanford, that fictional character on TV. Stanford and Son or Sanford and Son. Alright. So anyway. It was said that Lizzie had been a professor at Hunter College up until his wife and daughter died in a fire in their apartment. And that Lizzie's voice got this way somehow in the fire, trying to save his wife and daughter from something to do with the fire. The heat, the smoke, I don't know. All right. So anyway now, Lizzie was now he was out of his mind. He lost it. And I think he was stuck in PTSD over the whole thing. He obviously still had money because he dressed well, very well. Always had shiny shoes, a felt hat, tan felt hat, cashmere overcoat if it was cold outside, pressed slacks. You know, looked pretty good. Well-dressed guy. But that voice of his, yeah, well, I can't repeat it very well, but you could hear him coming from nearly a block away. His voice would cut through everything. And he had two favorite expressions. 911, motherfucker, 911. And, kiss my ass, you low-life motherfucker. Hurts my voice just to do it. Lizzie would come and stand exactly below my window, straight down from my window, at about 6 o'clock every morning, right about when I'd be getting my 1 hour of sleep a night. And I couldn't sleep because of him. You stand right there. If I leaned out my window, if I put my arms, like I have them on the table right here, right now, on my windowsill, put my window up and lean my head out and look down, I'd be looking down straight at the top of his hat. I could see his shoulders sticking out to the sides of his hat. I could see the tips of his shoes sticking out in the front. Nicely shined shoes. Just the tips. Okay. I couldn't take it, man. I couldn't take it anymore. I got to yelling at him. Lizzie, you gotta get out of here, man. I can't sleep. You come around, you do this shit, man. You just... The only time the block is quiet for an hour or two, and you come and you stand right below my window, and you start up with your voice, man. And I can't sleep. You gotta move. Go somewhere else. I'm sure you're a good guy, but you gotta move somewhere else. He wouldn't do it. He would never look up. Nothing. His only reply to any of it would be something like 911, motherfucker, 911. And then it just keep on going with other ramblings. Well, I had what we called a quarter stick of dynamite standing on my windowsill. No, it wasn't really nitroglycerin. No, it was gunpowder. But these things were about the size of what, if you cut a stick of dynamite into 4 equal lengths, about a quarter of one. You know, it was about this long. About that fat. And packed tight. Pretty thick cardboard. Maybe about like that. Creating a lot of resistance. And when the things would blow, there'd be fire, bright light, fire, lots of smoke, and an explosion, a blast, the impact of which would send a shockwave through an entire building in New York. You could feel it. Even on the other side of the building, you could feel it. All right. I had one standing on my windowsill. One morning I said, Lizzie, look, I got a quarter stick of dynamite here. And tomorrow, if you're back here tomorrow, I'm going to drop it on you, lit. So don't come back tomorrow. Tomorrow came. There was Lizzie. Kiss my ass, you low-life motherfucker. Well, I put my window up and I leaned out and I said, Lizzie, yesterday I told you. I'm going to drop this quarter stick on you. I'm going to light it and I'm going to drop it down. And I don't think you want to be standing there when it blows. I'm lighting it now. It didn't budge. Nothing. I dropped it down. On his way down, I thought it was going to land inside the brim of his hat, but it didn't, thank God. And it missed his shoulder. It landed beside him. I could see it. I know he heard it hit. He had to have noticed. I said, Lizzie, get out of there. I was worried about him all of a sudden. I was worried about what was happening to him when it blew, when it exploded. I was worried. I remembered how he got this way, a fire. What had happened in the fire. He lost his wife and daughter. And then I just waited a couple more seconds. Lizzie didn't budge. Then it exploded. For a few seconds, I couldn't even see Lizzie. The fire, smoke. But when they settled, and then the dust it did too, what I saw was Lizzie still there. Hadn't budged. Saw the top of his hat turning from one side to the other just a little bit. Saw the tips of his shoes sticking out. Lost her shine. Then I heard a sound coming from down there that changed my perspective on things for life. Kiss my ass, you low-life motherfucker.